What's something everyone should know before having sex for the first time? And just be willing to laugh. One time during doggy my boobs started actually clapping like they were making an actual clapping noise. It sounded like someone was applauding us and I couldn't hold in my laughter. Once my partner realized I wasn't laughing at him, he was laughing too. Made the whole thing 10x better and I was a million times more comfortable around him afterward. On that note, some people have STDs without knowing. And if they do, it doesn't mean they cheated on you or meant to hurt or give it to you. It's a sensitive subject and also does not mean you can never have sex again. It just means take extra precautions. A lot of people can be unaware of these things and they are important to remember. I should also mention that with some types of STDs like herpes etc., symptoms will not always appear and a swab type of test may produce a false negative due to lack of symptoms. Hence a person might be unaware. And if in doubt, make sure you and your partner get tested before any unprotected sex. And see your doctor. This is so important. Make sure you see a doctor with any concerns or questions to make sure you have professional advice. I do this quite a bit when start dating someone new and when my current partner showed symptoms. And it is so useful and important to get professional advice. Another commenter pointed out that something very important. Shower and clean yourself and any tools you are going to use properly every day and get tested between partners, especially if you are into hookups, and condoms, while important, don't cover everything, so be careful about exposed areas. If you're a dude, wash your dick, balls, and asshole beforehand. The wrong smell can destroy the mood. Also wash your hands, clip your nails, and brush your teeth. Basically anything that is going to come into contact with her should be clean. Edit, getting a ton of replies around how this applies to both men and women. Sure, it absolutely does. However, I was making a specific point around UTI infections, which are way more likely in women, when dirty hands and mouths get inside them. Edit 2, and to the many gay men I have offended by not representing them in my scenario, I am sorry. But I am talking specifically about recipients who are female. So maybe I should be apologizing to the lesbian community. I think why that's a problem for guys is that, we're the opposite. Once we're about the finish, there's little that can be done to stop it. So we like to go faster, harder, to make it more explosive, I guess. There's nothing a woman can do once we're about to finish that would potentially ruin it unless she just straight up punched you in the balls. And we figure women to be the same way, like there's a crescendo to the climax, but in reality it's a steady fluid motion. As you said, this was a problem I make sometimes, but that's just part of the mystical fog that is the woman orgasm. I'm gonna give you my poor man's award. When I was around 20, I got a UTI and had no idea. It turned into urethritis. Fuck urethritis. If you don't know about it, it infects and swells your urethra. It seems like you have chlamydia or any other of those STDs that you can get a pill from a DR and be over it. But it's not. You piss razor blades and blood. And just to find out that it's not an STD, they'll stick a metal Q-tip with cotton on the end of it, up your urethra to find out. The entire hospital knew what was going down when I was there. I screamed like a wild banshee. The worst part is, I was still on my conservative parents' insurance. That was a fun talk. After 3 days of pacing a hole in the carpet of the apartment, I get a call that I'm squeaky clean and they prescribe an antibiotic. Moral of the story? Piss directly after you bone. Thanks for the gold and other awards. Sex isn't a competition to give someone an orgasm. Sex isn't making someone orgasm. It's giving them a good enough time to potentially orgasm. Lack of erection, or lack of wetness, does not mean lack of arousal or interest. You can be horny as hell, but genitals are random and don't always cooperate. Sex is not always meant to be smooth and natural. When in doubt about doing something, Be awkward and ask. Trust me, surprise anal is rarely ever a welcome thing. Orgasming too soon is not a failure. You were excited and it felt good. As much as a guy is worried about his size or performance, women are worrying about how they look or what expectations they have and will be just as worried as a guy. Some additional. Consider not eating a heavy meal before sex. Anything from gas to an upset stomach or lethargy can screw up the rest of your plans. Drinking alcohol should be kept to a minimum. Whiskey dick, there might be a whiskey vagina too, is a thing and it sucks. Men, clean the crack of your ass. Seriously. Butt hair traps smell and fecal particles. You don't have to shove a bar of soap up there, but get a tiny bit of soap and some water in your crack at least. It's not gay and should never be considered as such. Edit. Yes, some people think it's gay to touch your own butt. I don't get it, myself, but it's out there. The reason I mention men specifically is because I had more own experience where I thought I washed myself enough but missed a little butt hair. I didn't realize until a fan in the room brought in a certain scent. Men, on that note, wash your junk, especially if you are uncircumcised. Sex is messy and sometimes noisy. Burps, farts, and queefs happen. They happen to everyone. Yes, it's mortifying, but it's a sound and that's it. Laugh it off and move on. This is so important. My ex was one to tell me I'm almost finished, hold on if I said something hurt or wanted to stop. I felt like that's what I was supposed to do, just take it. My current so noticed that if I was in pain, I wouldn't say anything. He straight up told me if it hurts, please tell me and I will stop. It's not fun if you're not having fun too. And it was a life changer. 6 years together and he's always been like this. He's great at communication and he's ridiculously caring and cares about my needs, both in and out of the bedroom. When I married my wife, we were both still in our religious indoctrination phase of our youth. We first discovered sex was impossible on our wedding night, due to her not knowing the signs of a yeast infection, and having a long since untreated one. We didn't know what the problem was, why it hurt her so much. Eventually we just kinda forced me in. It was super horrible and painful for her. She tried to hide it. Anyway, that's the story of how she got a vaginismus reflex that took a decade to unlearn and seriously impeded our ability to be intimate. Eventually, when on a date, Netflix and chill, etc., it will get to a point when it starts generating sexual tension. You'll begin to feel it, and if it starts getting there, tell them you're a virgin. This will make your potential partner more comfortable if they are too, created a stronger connection and better experience for both of you, and if they have more experience, they will take the lead. People don't reveal they are virgins out of shame. Movies like American Pie and The 40-Year-Old Virgin, while very funny movies, further propagate the idea that your virginity is like a bad tenant you have to get evicted from your property, and you cannot be invited into society until you do. Sex is cool, but use protection, and if you're a guy, respect that she will be left with the bag in a pregnancy, respect their boundaries and you'll be fine. My experience may be somewhat unique, but my first time was amazing for me, male. It was with the love of my life. We had been drinking, were super horny, but also madly in love and knew we were destined to be married. That was about 18 years ago. We are still madly in love. Our sex is absolutely better now, but it was never bad. I'm probably just lucky that I fell in love with someone with whom I am sexually compatible and still overwhelmingly attracted to all these years later. She's also extremely smart, very funny, and my best friend. I think that has always made the sex that much more enjoyable. Use your hand first to figure out what's going on down there. Use your middle finger and ring finger to spread the lips and isolate the clit. Don't go crazy, just play around and look for cues on what she likes. When it starts getting wet, go further south and stick your fingers in, gently up and back, on the inside behind the clit. Money spot. You should be more familiar now with her now. If you're into oral like me, it's the same idea with the clit, but I would advise against sticking your tongue inside her. When you wanna throw it in, if you're unsure of the location, slide the top of your shaft gently between the lips until you find that sweet spot and don't force it. Everything should work out naturally. Just go with the flow. I am a girl and disagree with your technique, I'm afraid. Whilst it's nice to have the fingers go in, neglecting the clit is the #1 issue with sex in my opinion. The inside of the vagina is remarkable nerve-free, so it's the equivalent of you ignoring the tip of your penis during sex. My advice would be to keep up gentle, circular pressure motion on the clit as much as possible, so if your fingers are inside, use your thumb on the clit, but remember, gentle regular motion. It's not about doing it fast and furious, it's the steady rhythm that will make her feel like she's going to come. Also try to keep this up during penetration as well. If you can't do it, get her to put her fingers on her clit. Believe me, you'll both have a better time. You will have mixed feelings after the high goes away. Edit, my experience with losing my virginity. It was great. Amazing. My partner was very attentive and kinky. My after-sex glow/high lasted 3 days. Then my world came crashing down. I felt gross, embarrassed, depressed, regretful, angry, lost, feel like I wasted my first time, glad I did it, mad I did it, disconnected from myself, disappointed, my nerves were all over the place. I thought I had been ready for my first time at age 22, but then again I didn't feel like I was. I felt like I had the maturity and old soul, but at the same time I felt like a child still. Lost. It was a very difficult time for me. I was very moody, up and down, a storm of emotions and feelings. But I was also very horny and starving for more love/affection/attention, yet was always empty or worse off after the high left. Also the high after having sex lasted less and less. So just be careful. Guard yourself and take care of yourself. I wasn't able to afford therapy to help me sort through my emotions, so consider you may need some form of counseling to help you. Edit 2, I was also relieved to finally have sex. Because I had such a desire/thirst/craving for it. I remember my first sex dreams began at age 8. Edit 3, like a commenter mentions, everyone is different and can and will react different. I'm just giving you a possible heads up by sharing my story because sometimes you never know. Edit 4, I am agnostic/atheist. Edit 5, I was always like the goody two-shoes growing up, being proper, etc. Having sex was my way of rebelling against the standards of women and men must wait for marriage. Edit 6, I was tired of having to hide my sexual side as it was a big part of me. I was embracing my sexuality by allowing myself what I felt I desired. I had my first relationship and sexual experience at 26. My partner has a traumatic past and we were both afraid of having sex. What worked for both of us is that we put on a show/movie and cuddled until we got worked up. I had no idea what I was doing, so my partner helped me out by guiding me and giving me pointers. Our first couple of sessions were slow-paced, filled with non-stop communication. This worked out for both of us because I didn't feel pressured or held to a standard and my partner could get comfortable having sex again. To put it into perspective with their past, there are still moments where they are uncomfortable with me seeing them naked. Because of the trust and communication, we can have sex without either of us feeling like we're walking on eggshells. Unfortunately, this is probably not the universal experience, but it's my belief that if your partner judges or treats you differently based on how you are with sex, it will probably mean that there will be issues in the future. Communication, love, and care are extremely important building blocks to a relationship, and if any of them are missing, then it's likely the relationship will fail. We were lucky. We may differ in many areas, but with our trust, respect, love, and communication, we feel as if we can work through anything together and don't have to be secretive or lie about anything. We don't push when the other is uncomfortable because we know that they'll open up when it's time. We're here for each other. All of these points also work for sex. Without meeting these requirements, I don't think we would have had sex and probably would have had the relationship that we do. If you watch a lot of porn expecting it to be exactly like that, don't. It's nothing like what you see on screen. Both genders have different types of genitals. What I mean is some things can do what others can't. Straight guys, don't rub the clit like there's the cure for cancer in there, rub it slow. Vaginas take a long time to get wet and work differently than others. Also, for both genders, foreplay is important. This one is also for the guys, please shower. I've heard stories/jokes about girls who have gotten all done up only to hook up with guys who stunk. There's an exclusion if that odor is natural, but don't use that as an excuse. Some guys fake that smell being natural. Showers are sexy. Also, don't get shocked if she's not the person in her PFP. This is referring to catfishing. This goes for virgins who are using dating apps. Lots of people do so cause they're insecure or nefarious. I don't use dating apps cause I'm afraid that I won't be good for some people, looks-wise. I used to use Whisper a lot and talk to guys. Those guys would want to see my face and I didn't ever show them. One guy said I was catfishing, but when guys do that, I feel like they want to talk to a Barbie doll instead of me. That's what I think they expect to see when they see that they're talking to girls. Same goes for the ladies except with dicks, sorta. Guy here. Be honest before you have sex with your partner. You should already have laid, no pun, the truth foundation by copping to your virginity, among other things you are anxious about. Nobody is really expecting anyone else to be perfect at sex in general. Everyone thinks it is like movies and porn, but it is not. Sex is sweaty, makes you both feel ultra vulnerable, which is usually the point, and it is messy to clean up afterwards. I have only hetero experience here, but generally after sex, she'll want a clean towel and will most likely dart to the bathroom to push out the cum and or clean up her body. The guy will probably dart to the bathroom to first piss, yep, and then wipe his dick only to realize that toilet paper is hilariously attracted to sex-coated dick juice. If anyone wants to chime in with helpful sex tips of, or other than hetero experiences, feel free to fill in the empty space, no pun. Porn is not real-world sex. Porn stars get paid to have sex, and they usually have sex very often. Think about anything you've done for years, over and over again, for money. You'll realize that you accidentally perform the job, at the very least, satisfactory to your target audience. Porn stars' jobs are no different. Speaking of porn stars, they are literally scouted for their roles in film and or photography. These people are enlisted in order to satisfy a certain target demographic for a current project, whether that be super thin models, super muscular models, very well endowed models, etc. Do not compare yourself to porn stars any more than you would compare yourself to any other profession you are not paid to perform. Guys, don't worry about the size of your dick. Your partner won't care about your size nearly 99.99% as much as you do. That last 0.01% is them caring about how good it feels, and that's it. It's not like how it looks in movies or porn. There are going to be awkward moments. There may be smells. There may be stains. You will probably both get sweaty if it's really good. If she's on the bottom and she gets really turned on, she may leave a wet spot on the sheets. Condoms are recommended, but if you don't use a condom you're going to need a towel or tissues to catch or wipe up the jizz. Don't try it in the shower/pool/hot tub because water is the opposite of lubricant. If it's not the first time for everyone, let the more experienced person take the lead. Communication is key. That includes nonverbal communication. Tell each other what you like and don't like both before and during. For whoever is on top, if it seems like your partner is really enjoying what you're doing, don't change a thing until they tell you to. When you find something that works, you stick with it. The more experience you get, the more comfortable you will get with sex. Sex always comes with risks. Even if you use birth control, pregnancy can happen. Sexually transmitted infections can happen and some are incurable. Make sure you trust your partner and make sure you are both willing to accept the risks. Once you start having sex, you will likely find yourself in a situation where sex is about to happen spontaneously and you don't have protection. It's really hard to stop at that point. That's probably when most unplanned pregnancies happen. Think about what you're going to do in that situation. What if you fail at pulling out in time? Accidents happen and then difficult decisions have to be made. If you can't handle that, you're not ready to have sex.